Welcome to SVG-TV News for Thursday, March 21st, 2024. I am Jennifer Richardson with the details. The St. Vincent and the Grenadines Nurses Association has condemned the shooting incident which occurred on Tuesday night on the male surgical ward at the Milton Cater Memorial Hospital. In a statement on the incident, the association said it is thankful that no member of staff was hurt. However, it noted that while there was no physical injury, the incident has left the staff shaken and terrified. The Nurses Association said as a workers' organization, it is concerned about the safety and welfare of all nurses and other nursing personnel and remain resolute in advocating for the safety and security of staff. Noting that the act is not an isolated incident, the association said over the years multiple acts of crime and violence have saturated the Milton Cater Memorial Hospital and they are aggrieved and dissatisfied. The association said it dismisses any attempt to implement temporary security measures and called on the Minister of National Security to intervene to ensure that nurses have a safe and conducive environment in which to work to ensure optimal patient care continually. Expressing concern about the nurses' psychological state, the association said it will provide the necessary support and assistance to ensure the nurses who were on duty at the time of Tuesday's incident receive essential care and counseling. Condemning what it said is the recent spike in serious crimes and acts of violence in the country, the Nurses Association expressed alarm with the situation and called on the authorities to put measures in place to restore peace and stability in the society. In a news release on Tuesday, the Ministry of Health, Wellness and the Environment commended the brave work of the team of healthcare workers on duty at the hospital during the incident for remaining focused on saving lives and ensuring the well-being of the patients. The ministry said its psychosocial team was activated and commenced the provision of support to the healthcare team and the patients at the MCMH. Given its commitment to reviewing the security measures currently in place at the MCMH and other facilities with a view to the implementation of additional measures identified to be necessary, the ministry has requested the support of the nation as they continue to work to provide healthcare services in safe and health-enhancing environments. As part of the measures being taken to beef up security at the MCMH, the ministry announced temporary restrictions to the male surgical ward's visiting hours. It said visiting hours to the male surgical ward will be restricted to 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. only, effective immediately until further notice, with the 11 a.m. to 12 midday visiting period suspended. Prime Minister Dr. Afghan Sams has again called for outstanding coroners' inquests in SVG to be held, noting that he is aware of many not being held. On radio yesterday, the Prime Minister pointed out the relevant bodies, he said, need to work to ensure progress is made in this regard.
I know there are many outstanding coroner's inquests, and I want to make the public appeal here, which I've done repeatedly through the chain, for the Office of the Commissioner of Police, the Office of the DPP, the Office of the Attorney General, and certainly the magistracy, to proceed to ensure that those outstanding coroner's inquests, that they're held, and a coroner's inquest is held for someone who died in sudden and unnatural circumstances where there is not, at the time or immediate or a period thereafter, that there's no one who can be identified as being criminally culpable. But nevertheless, you must have an inquest if no one is charged for someone dying in sudden or unnatural circumstances.
Dr. Gonsalves highlighted the procedures that have to take place in order for a coroner's inquest to be completed, noting that the Director of Public Prosecution still has the final say.
The DPP, when looking at the evidence, considers that there's an insufficiency of evidence to take the matter to the court. I mean, to have a preliminary inquiry or then to go on indictment, to the High Court. Most coroner's inquests, overwhelmingly, it would be the odd case in which you would find somebody culpable criminally, because the police and the DPP would have seen that that person is culpable and have the person charged. But still, these are human beings who have died, and there must be a judicial pronouncement as to the circumstances in which these persons met their deaths. Thus the purpose for the coroner's inquest under the Coroner's Act. And you notice I named the magistracy because they're the coroner for the district. They have to have a record, and it's their responsibility. But the gathering of the evidence primarily rests with the police, though the coroner can independently take statements from people who come to the coroner and say, this is what I know what happened about this. The coroner's inquest is not an adversary. The DPP, when looking at the evidence, considers that there's an insufficiency of evidence to take the matter to the court. I mean, to have a preliminary inquiry or then to go on indictment, to the High Court. Most coroner's inquests, overwhelmingly, it would be the odd case in which you would find somebody culpable criminally, because the police and the DPP would have seen that that person is culpable and have the person charged. But still, these are human beings who have died, and there must be a judicial pronouncement as to the circumstances in which these persons met their deaths. Thus the purpose for the coroner's inquest under the Coroner's Act. And you notice I named the magistracy because they're the coroner for the district. They have to have a record, and it's their responsibility. But the gathering of the evidence primarily rests with the police, though the coroner can independently take statements from people who come to the coroner and say, this is what I know what happened about this. The coroner's inquest is not an adversary.
The Prime Minister is hopeful that with the appointment of 2 new magistrates, one can expect to see preliminary inquiries and coroner's inquests being held more speedily. The Fisheries Department has promised to address concerns being faced by fisherfolk at Lomans Bay. The assurance was given at a consultation held in the community yesterday afternoon. Chief Fisheries Officer Jennifer Cruikshank-Howard, who chaired the meeting, said she is satisfied that the fisherfolk got the opportunity to freely raise their concerns.
We are pleased with the turnout this afternoon. The fishers, they have aired their views. We are hoping that we will be able to meet all of the requirements that they have stated. We know it will have to be done in phases based on the number of things that they have requested of us, but those that are of immediate need, we will try our best to see how we can have those requirements being met as soon as possible. We have promised that we will be back to them with them in 1 month's time to give them a further update and the progress.
The Chief Fisheries Officer said the fisherfolk can expect to see the installation of proper facilities in the not-so-distant future.
The immediate things that may be possible are the toilets and washroom facilities. Those are the 2 areas, toilet, washroom, facilities in one. They ask for the paving of the road, and those are the 2 things we can see that are immediate, and the relocation of some of the fishers who are immediately on the beach, because a lot of the area is being utilized for persons who picnic, and we would like to see those persons still have the use of the beaches while the fishers are here operating.
Chief Surveyor Keith Francis also attended the meeting, as his department will have to identify suitable lands for any work to be carried out in the area.
Yes, I just wanted to say that I'm grateful to Ms. Howard for inviting me down to this meeting. It's been a while since I've been here. When I was here last, none of these structures were up, and it was good to hear the views of the fisher folk. I was quite pleased with the orderly process that the meeting took, and we are going to take what was said here and hopefully with the other entities, Bragza, Fisheries, Surveys and Planning, come up with a proposal where we can bring back to the fisher folk for them to have a look at and make sure that what we have put together that they are agreeing with. And Ms. Howard and I have had preliminary discussions. We're talking about a 1 month time frame. I am hopeful that that can happen. And at that time, we will come back and make that presentation again and see how we can move forward.
Some $750,000 have been allocated for Lomans Bay in this year's budget. However, the fishermen were told that the monies will have to be divided for a fisheries project at Shipping Bay. Meanwhile, the fishermen who were at the meeting say they are happy to finally get the opportunity to have their concerns raised and that they are hoping that the officers keep their promises, noting that for months they have been calling for some basic facilities to be put in place to help with their trade.
Well, my concern is where everybody's talking about the bathroom facilities, you know, and the storing of fish. We're coming out late. We could get somewhere to put up our fish. And another number one thing, we would like to see that the goodwill fishermen co-op back on stream.
All in all, it was a good meeting. It's good that people could clear the air, people could raise their concerns, and hopefully we can urge the government to put in a little bit more money. We are prepared to do our part. We are prepared to make our contribution, but it would take, I think, a little more money than it's being allocated right now.
Storage of fish, because most of the time and there's a big problem we always have. Fishermen, we go out, we spend some time 2, 1 o'clock in the night, because it might meet the fish late. When you're coming home, you need to store your fish. And you cannot go out and leave the fish and burn 3-4 tank of gas to spend 1,000 change to load back up the next morning, and you going to meet the fish and leave them because you don't have the storage to store the fish.
A slipway for pull up our boat, information hub where we could share information and gather information. So I feel kind of pleased because I was appealing for the longest while, and could say I'm very happy with the turnout. I hope that this discussion does not stay here. I hope this discussion move forward and the information reach the persons who are in charge to really come to the assistance of the fisher folks. I think this is a start, and I hope that we have more consultation with the fisher folks so we could get it right, so each and everyone will be comfortable and that the fishing industry can grow with togetherness.
In other local news, SVG-TV News has received confirmation that the man who was shot by police today at the Little Tokyo bus terminal is Jada Daniel. On Wednesday, the police issued a wanted person bulletin for Daniel, who they say is a person of interest in connection with a series of burglaries. According to reports, Daniel had an encounter at the bus terminal with the police, resulting in him being shot. He was transported to the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital for medical attention and is said to be under police guard. A fire last night at the Owe recreational site destroyed one of its vending kiosks. The cause of the fire is not known at this time. However, reports are that the vending kiosk and all of its content were totally destroyed. It is reported that no one was at the kiosk at the time of the fire. An official closing ceremony of the rehabilitation and restoration of the Owe Salt Pond recreational site by the National Parks, Rivers and Beaches Authority in collaboration with the SVG Conservation Fund was to be held today at the site. The closing ceremony would have marked the successful rehabilitation of the site, which was severely affected by ash fall from the 2021 explosive eruptions of the La Soufrière volcano. Students and teachers at the School for Children with Special Needs, Kingstown, today rocked their socks as one of many activities held in observance of World Down Syndrome Day. There are 8 students with Down syndrome at the school, and Principal Nassim Smith said the theme for World Down Syndrome Day, Stop the Stigma, needs to be emphasized.
This theme and the stereotype, basically self-explanatory. We have tons of barriers in society, in our environment, that would restrict persons, not just with Down syndrome, persons with disabilities, from leading more comfortable lives. And this year we want persons to remember to be more tolerant of differences. We are asking persons to also check in on others in their community. If you know that there is someone with Down syndrome living in your community, go check on them, give them a call, sit down and ask a question, not just give them a handout.
The principal explains the reasons why they wear multicolored socks to mark the occasion.
Because, as you are aware, Down syndrome is affiliated with a third copy of the 21st chromosome. We all have 23 pairs of chromosomes, right, so that gives us 46. But persons with Down syndrome, they have an extra third copy of the 21st chromosome. Chromosomes are shaped like socks. That's why we wear silly socks today, to remember the persons who are living with Down syndrome.
Teachers used the occasion to dress in school uniform to show solidarity with the students.
Some of the activities that we have here planned for the children with Down syndrome are matching of bottles, different colors. We have treasure hunting planned for later, and also we have the popping of the balloons. Yes, it's fun, you know, it's exciting, it's different, and the children are enjoying, especially wearing their t-shirts and all of that.
Malika Patterson, who has Down syndrome and is a student at the School for Children with Special Needs, Kingstown, says she loves singing gospel songs and shares a bit of her talent with us.
Do you like school?
Yes.
What do you like about school?
Fun. Happy love Jesus, I do well days of the Lord. Lift me up, oh lift me up. There's the high most up. We're lost to be lost to be loved. To remind me of love. Jesus had me love for thy bind, but had me so. Later had me love for thy bind, but had me so.
Several persons stopped by the school to lend support for the day, including Speaker of the House of Assembly, Rochelle Ford. The School for Special Needs Children in Georgetown also joined the celebration today for World Down Syndrome Day. In a telephone interview with SVG-TV News, teacher Kathleen Butler spoke of the activities held today by the school. Butler said while things have changed a bit, there is still some stigma associated with people who have Down syndrome and other conditions.
For World Down Syndrome Day, what we did, we went to the Georgetown Government School and we did presentations in various classes to teach the children at the school, about what Down syndrome is all about, to raise awareness of it. We also encourage the students to wear pretty mismatched socks, and we rewarded one child in each class. We gave them a gift. The child who was deemed the winner by the teachers in the various classes, that child received a gift. Each child in each class received a gift from our school. We also encourage, before the day, we also encourage persons to rock their pretty mismatched socks in commemoration of World Down Syndrome Day as well. I would say yes and no. Yes, that it is still there a bit, and but I do not have empirical evidence of this because I haven't done any research on it, but based on my observation for the years that I've been in special education, I think that it is less now than it was in previous years gone by. So it has minimized a bit.
Butler said it is her hope that people with Down syndrome and other conditions will be accepted by society and provided with opportunities to live normal life.
And that they can have family and the same experience that the normal person would experience, they can have it also. A family, they can be employed, they can be accepted, all of would like them to have. Once persons are aware of what they're dealing with, they will be more accepted. So awareness, also inclusion, the curriculum can be adapted to suit them so that even though they have a disability, they can experience success also. So you adapt the curriculum so that they can experience success, so that they can achieve as well.
Prime Minister Dr. Rav Gonsalves also joined in observing World Down Syndrome Day today. Speaking on NBC Radio's face-to-face program yesterday, he told the host that he was wearing different colored socks and was going to be wearing them today, which symbolizes the extra one chromosome that people with Down syndrome are born with.
Down syndrome, and you know they have this international program, Rock Your Socks.
Yes.
Colored, pretty colored socks, mismatched socks. And last year, we were in Parliament, and I knew the day. I know tomorrow is the day, but apparently they're coming by at Cabinet today.
Okay.
To take with all the members of Cabinet or those who remember this event. So I had to go back upstairs and find my mismatched socks. So even though I'm one day early Johnny P. This is one.
Dominated by gray.
And this is pink.
Yes, pink.
The other one. So pink and gray, the other one. And the other one is multicolors, as you see, with some gray and red and all sorts of other things. So I have to wear today and tomorrow. Today for the cameras at Cabinet. That's Cabinet. And tomorrow in full commemoration. So
March 21st is used to raise awareness on Down syndrome, which usually causes varying degrees of intellectual and physical disability and associated medical issues. Prime Minister Gonsalves said more people need to be in solidarity with people with Down syndrome.
It's observed by the United Nations since 2012, and the Ministry of National Mobilization has been collaborating with the School for Children with Special Needs. And so we rocking the socks tomorrow, but I hope Cabinet members are listening. But we have to be in solidarity with our children who have Down syndrome, and we have to make sure it's part of our annual remembrance and for it to get into our heads every day of the importance of these children, these wonderful children, whom we have to protect and defend and promote on an ongoing basis.
This year's theme for Down syndrome is End the Stereotypes. Chief Agricultural Officer Renata Gomes is encouraging students across the country to gain an appreciation for agriculture and having a positive mindset towards agriculture. Gomes was at the time addressing the prize-giving ceremony of the school's backyard gardening program held on Monday at the Methodist Church Hall.
Always try to be positive in farming, everything you do. Program yourself to remain positive. Being positive affects everything about your life, health, everything. You face challenges every day, but don't let challenges pull you down. As one man said, an optimist sees opportunities and challenges, and a pessimist sees challenges and opportunities. So I urge you to always remain positive in your farming or whatever you do in life. Remain positive. Right? The other thing I want people to get an appreciation for is things like pollination. You know, we as human beings, we are the most important beings on this planet, you know. But you know, if all the bees die, we would die. If all the bees die, we would die because we need the bees to pollinate, to produce food. But I don't know, we think the world is ours and we don't do anything about it. So I want us to keep all these things in mind when we are doing cultivation.
The Chief Agricultural Officer said it's essential to continually improve the technology used in the production of agricultural crops, noting that it is his hope that in the next National School Backyard Gardening Competition, they will see an upgrade to the grand prize of a gardening tiller.
You have to be able to always increase, and I try to keep it simple, the amount that you're receiving from the same size of land that you are cultivating. And we call that productivity, but to make it simple, because I see a wide age difference in the children here, so that you can understand what we're saying. But as I said, I'm a strong believer in science, and in the future, I would like to see something like a tiller being offered as the first prize. Right? Now, I heard a lot of talk about students being on social media or being on the tablets, whatever devices, and I like what Ms. Brown said, is that it's not all bad, but you can use your devices to do research in agriculture. Secondly, it's an opportunity to provide so many things that you can use at home if you're allowed to take them home, because you yourself have to eat. And once you also learn how to grow these things, you know, you have your parents, your grandparents, and sometimes they need special food because of the non-communicable diseases like diabetes, high blood pressure thing. And we have to understand the importance of diet in these things. There are some foods, for example, you know, that control high blood pressure, things like cucumber, garlic, you know, Christophine and those things. So you have to always have these things in the back of your mind when you're doing your cultivation. The other reason is that it builds on what you learn in school in terms of science.
The overall winner of the school's backyard gardening competition 2023 to 2024 was the Low Bay Primary School in Beckway.